Okay. Hello, everyone. How are you today? Are you good? I have a question for you. So, how many people of among that you come from e-commerce business? Just raise your hands. Okay. So, because today we will have a very exciting topics to discuss with our beloved speaker here. So, we want to review power of the AI that affecting e-commerce performance in Vietnam right now. But before we go into the details discussion, so I want to introduce with you. So next to me is Mr. Lê Nguyễn Thế Đạt, who is the co-founders of Boost ML and 90 Seconds. So can you give a big hand for Lê Nguyễn Thế Đạt? Yes. And next is Mr. Steve Huang from Insiders. So he's the who is enabler for AI and machine learning in Insiders. And the last one is Mr. Oliver Tan, who is a co-founder of Vsense, a platform for machine learning and visualize recognitions. So first of all, Oliver Tan, can you have the brief introductions of your business?
Sure, thank you for that introduction. So Vsense is a artificial intelligence company. We specialize in computer vision, and the way that we've brought our innovation to the market is to fundamentally help consumers find better using images and image-based queries instead of just using keywords. And we help them in creating retailers and brands in creating wonderful visual experiences. Like for instance, if you were to download the app from ASOS, UK's largest online fashion retailer, you'll be able to then search ASOS products using a visual search feature that's powered using an AI visual search engine that is developed by Vsense. So simply take a picture of an outfit or something that you like, use that as an image query, upload that, and in less than 2 seconds you will have the results being returned to you with visually matching results. So that's one of the most popular use case that we have done. The companies that we have developed, we're a 6-year-old company. We're based out of Singapore, offices in San Francisco and China. And we fundamentally build custom vision-based data models to be able to convert pixels into keywords as well as to matching products. So we work with different parties, brands, retailers. We also work with the data science team from different organizations. We work with recommendation engines to help them recommend better, powering the visual insights behind the recommendation engine. So generally, anything that is visual, that is related to visual, including videos, that's really up our alley. Thank you.
Yep, thank you, Steve. Can you have a brief introduction on your role at Insiders?
Okay, my name is Steve. Currently, I'm AI and machine learning enabler in Insider. So Insider is a growth management platform that we help digital business to grow across platforms, and our engine is powered by AI and machine learning. Currently, I'm working with big players, e-commerce players in Vietnam like Tiki, Aderoy, Vietnam Airlines to enable the AI products like predictive modeling and recommendation engine too. So basically, we help them to we use our algorithms like collaborative filtering, logistic regressions, or K-means to predict the outputs of their audience. Like we answer the question how many audience can be converted for the next 7 days, or how many audience can be turned for the next 7 days, or how many percent of their audience is VIP, for example. So basically, we run predictive analysis and provide the recommendation engine on their website.
Yep.
Hi everyone. My name is Dad. I'm currently a director of data science and engineering in 90 Seconds. It's a Series B startup in Singapore. We are backed by Sequoia. But the main reason why I'm here is that I'm also a co-founder and Chief Data Scientist at Boost ML. We are a totally Vietnamese company. Everyone is Vietnamese. We have offices in Singapore and in Hanoi. We are B2B business. The whole thing that we are doing is basically we are helping businesses, banks, big, small corporate, startups to actually leverage their data and build machine learning AI capabilities. We're helping them with things like chatbot. We're helping them with things like data warehouse, recommendation system, AI, machine learning, automated system, etc.
Okay, thank you. So, as you mentioned that all of our speakers is having very great background in terms of boosting your performance in e-commerce. So, there's a statistics that we already observed that 75% of all of the level teams or the engineering teams in e-commerce players, they are utilizing the artificial intelligence platforms to optimizing the e-commerce performance. And we also observe that not only the giants in e-commerce like Alibaba or Amazon, they're having a lot of automation process, not only in logistics, but also the marketing operations. So, Oliver, can you explain a bit behind why the developer teams, they utilizing the artificial intelligence?
Sure. So let me take one step back and give a broader picture. Artificial intelligence is a very broad word. In vSense, to be very honest, we use terms like deep learning, machine learning, to be able to be more specific about the solutions that we create. But if you look at the broad industry itself, and if you look at what retailers are doing in the US and in UK, you find that more than 70% of retailers have already adopted AI in some form or another. And AI is going to fundamentally affect the way that e-commerce is being transacted, being delivered, being offered to you as a consumer. Retailers that do not adopt AI will run the danger of being phased out. Let me ask you a very fundamental question. If you look at the US last year, 2017, do you know how many major retail chains in the US has already filed for bankruptcy? Anybody knows? 2017. You have 21 major retail chains in the US that has filed for bankruptcy, including Toys R Us. Just think about it. A major brand like Toys R Us in the US has filed for bankruptcy. And these guys all have a fundamental problem. They have not assimilated or absorbed technologies as part of their production, either part of the production process, the way they do business, the way to engage business. Somebody like Sears, for instance, is running into problem. All right. If you read the news today, I'm not saying anything that's sensitive. They're running into problems right now. And why are companies like Walmart, why are companies like Amazon doing that well? Why are companies like JD in the US and Alibaba doing that well? Because all of them has fundamentally taken AI in some form or another, absorbed that and made them an integral part of the workflow process. Like for instance, there's this company in China that has just struck a deal with the Arkansas government in the US, and they will create a 21 fully automated production line in the US. How many of you know how many seconds does it take for that production line to produce one t-shirt? That production line produces one t-shirt in less than 20 seconds. That's how fast it is as compared to a normal 8-hour process to produce a t-shirt. That's how fast it is. And if you think about the customization of shoes today, Nike, for instance, I know Nike has a huge production base here in Vietnam, but the automation process to custom build the frontal part of the shoe itself can now be customized using AI technology in less than 5 minutes. That's how fast the process can be. So back to the bigger question, why retailers need to absorb this is because their competitors are using it. Consumers expect better engagement. The experiences are being lifted by the AI-driven experiences, whether it's visual search or voice search or NLP or better recommendation, consumers expect that. But consumers don't care about the technology that they see behind. They just want the experience. And for competitors who are able to do that already, that brings the bar a lot higher than what they will otherwise not have. And that is the challenge. So retailers who do not absorb that, who do not practice that, are going to be running into a lot of problems.
Yep. Thanks, Oliver. So how about in Vietnam, Steve? How have you observed the AI applications in e-commerce in Vietnam? Because you're working in Vietnam quite a long time. So what is your observations?
So based on my observations, first is the fact is there is half of our population will be online shoppers, which is the data availability is really huge. So a lot of data, a lot of behaviors are not recognized in their website. So imagine that around just 20% of the users in e-commerce website log in, and there are 80% of them are anonymous, so we don't know. So it's the big loss of every e-commerce players. Is the first is data availability, and the second one is in the century of customer centric, the change of consumer expectation is the key, right? So they expect that we have to understand the audience like without saying anything, just based on the data, just based on the AI and machine learning. They want to get the right message at the right time and at the right place, or very personalized experience when they browsing, when they doing the shopping in e-commerce website, and they need to be understood. So the second thought that I observed in the e-commerce scenes in Vietnam, and I think last but not least is the trend. So if like Mr. Oliver Tan said that if we do not catch up with the trend of AI and machine learning, that we need to understand more clients, understand more consumers, so we might go bankruptcy for the next few years.
Thank you, Steve. So everyone here is actually can be aware of what is the opportunity beyond the AI to apply to the e-commerce. But what is according to you, what will be the challenge that business can using AI to apply in their e-commerce? What is the challenge?
I think that, a little bit back on the previous question, where I think competition is like a huge factor of like everyone has to be innovative, right? And so right now, because of that competition, everyone wants to have AI. And the problem is that at the same time, there's competition when it comes to human resource, trying to get someone with experience doing AI, doing recommendation system, extremely hard. So that's the first challenge. The second challenge is the infrastructure. I think that a lot of the companies trying to do AI right now, but at the same time, they don't really have a good data engineering team, a good data infrastructure. How many of you here work for companies without a data warehouse, or with a data warehouse that is so slow that every time you request a little bit of a report, it took them 5 days to actually get it done? So those are the infrastructure that's really, really needed to be considered first before you do AI.
Okay, so I have a very quick question related to that explanations. That is there any e-commerce business here that you have the in-house team to develop or to use the machine learning in your teams? Can you raise your hands? No one's. So the next is I will be talking about very related to because the disadvantage of we applying the AI or the machine learning of the client, like BoostML, like insiders, or like VSense that you sell to our clients. So what will be the disadvantage or the dark side of the AI applications?
Yeah. So here's the fun story about BoostML. So we started off doing machine learning and AI and chatbot, and we want to do that kind of cool things, like to all the companies. And when we talk to companies, we have a problem because they don't have a data warehouse yet. And, okay, why don't we build it for them? So that's one of the vertical that we're doing in-house at BoostML. I think it's super important. And then at the same time, there's also problems where we realize when we talk to big corporate is the people at the top of the chain, they don't really understand what we are doing. AI, machine learning is our buzzword. We don't really see anything out of that yet. The people that understand us are not the decision maker. So it's kind of like the challenge right there where we really, really hope that there's more and more leader understanding AI and machine learning these days in Vietnam. And that would help us, help the company a lot.
So to conclude, it's about the AI knowledge. Also, you're not reaching to the key persons to extend the AI. So how about you, Oliver? What is the disadvantage that you were or you are facing when implementing the AI solution to e-commerce business?
Okay, so maybe I can put the question in this this context. What would organizations need to decide on first before they, what are the criteria that go through their head before they want to outsource or build something internally, right? I think that is a classic problem all product organizations go through, or services organization for that matter. What would it take for them to build something versus getting ready out-of-a-box solution that they can actually buy off the shelf or just activate at a flick of a finger. Today, if you look at the tools that are available in the market, the overall state of machine learning is so much better than 5 years ago. We can today build very elegant, nice data models, okay, just by using available tools in the market. The data themselves are really, the lifeblood of any data model. Without the data, the models die. The question for big organizers, and I work a lot with brands and a lot with retailers, and they struggle with this, right? Because AI has moved so fast. So whether is it in voice or in image or is it in NLP or is it collaborative filters or is it in some other tools out there, there's a constant need for them to actually level up their expertise. The question is, can you do everything? Or is it better to partner with smart guys out there who have already done it, who have proven themselves, who have demonstrated capability to uplift conversion rates, to improve click-through rates, and they've already done it themselves. So do you want to try to build something internally at the expense of compromising your other priorities? If you are a retailer, would you not want to have your your resources focused on, like, for instance, making sure that the products are being delivered, making sure that your customer service is actually in top shape, and leave all the heavy lifting, the science, the hard science, to companies that have already done it to help you with that task. So retailers and brands have fundamentally to decide the identity that they want to adopt. Do they want to be technology companies, or do they want to be retailers, or do they want to be brands? Not every retailer can be like an Amazon, right? Amazon has almost a lot of resources. They have data science team. They can build AI themselves. Not every retailer is like an Alibaba. They've got a lot of resources. For most other retailers and most other brands, e-commerce players, they just want to do what they do best, and work with good technology companies to actually absorb the better part about that. So I would urge the challenge. If it is a challenge, then I have to ask that hard question to the retailer, because if we can already do things better and help you along, why would you want to reinvent the wheel? Because resources are very precious, right? As a brand, as a retailer, you want to make sure that your resources are maximized in things that you do best in, and let us do stuff that we do best in, so that we can actually bring the best results to you. That's my persuasive and strong arguments for that.
So what is your priorities to be a technology powerful, or to be achieve the target in your business? So how about you, Steve? What is the disadvantage that you are already facing when you working with the business to implementing your machine learnings?
So one of the challenges that when we go to the market, so the market is currently is still like new. So for the new entrant like Insider, we also face the challenge that the mindset of partners. So maybe partners want us that can you reduce our costs and like optimize our ad spending by using your ads, but actually you have to spend more. Because how many of you here is running Facebook or Google ads? Yeah, few, right? And maybe you can realize that for the last 10 years, the cost of CPC or the cost of acquisitions is like triple. So that actually at the moment, our recommendation is that you don't stop spending, but you have to keep your spending, but spend very wisely. That's why we provide a predictive audience that can fit to your business goal, like you want to churn save, or you want to increase revenue, or you want to raise your brand awareness or re-engage the users. So that's why I think for the challenge of the market currently is the mindset of using AI and machine learning. Actually, it's not cost saving, but more spending, but wisely.
We're already talking about the mindsets, we're talking about the knowledge, we're talking about the resources in implementing the AIs, but how about the privacies of the data?
Yeah, it's a challenging question. Like, I think that it's very hard to actually control the data at the moment. I think that I've been working for a couple of different startup companies where everyone in the company, I'm not going to name the company or anything, but everyone in the company has access to all the data within the company. They can just plug in a USB, go out there, sell the whole thing extremely easily. So with that argument, I'm going to come to the company and say, are you already super protected about your data first? Or are you being a little bit more open and have us come in and help you actually protecting your data? Like we're buying things like contracts and everything to make sure that we're not violating it. And that's everything that I can say.
Yes, it's all about the data compliance of the companies, right? So how about you, Steve? Sorry, Oliver, you want to go first?
Yeah, maybe I just want to add a little bit point about the data itself, because I think that's something very, very important. There's two kinds of data that, at least for me, that we encounter. One is consumer-driven data, and the other one is macro data or market-based data. How many of you guys here are familiar with GDPR, the regulation from the Europe right now? I see a few hands. Okay, great, excellent. GDPR is a General Data Protection Act or regulation in Europe. It is probably one of the strongest pieces of legislation that's coming out in Europe right now, and it's affecting almost every ad tech company, any recommendation company, AI companies themselves are also affected. What it means fundamentally is that if you are a European resident and you have not explicitly given permission to Facebook or to Google, they cannot use your data, for running specific campaigns, and that will compromise your privacy. Right? That's how clear the legislation is. What it means is then can AI companies, when they are either a processor or a controller, put enough governance in their workflow process when they handle all of these data? Are they in a position to safeguard and put guardrails around the way that the data is being used? Can you ensure that the user's privacy is being not affected, for instance? So all data companies, data aggregators, data processors, data controllers have to go through this process of compliance, and that is over time created problems. But I like to look at the brighter side of things. These so-called problems become standards that uplifts the way that everybody handles and protects data. It is good for the industry. It's actually good for everybody because it gives everybody more confidence. The way that we need to deal with it is to look at what is required in order to conform to that. Over in Singapore, I'm actually based, my company is based in Singapore, but I'm based 50% in the US. Over in Singapore, we have what we call PDPA, Personal Data Protection Act. It has a similar standard as well, where we need, as a Singapore-based company, we need to put in place processes like these. So I would say that whether it's on the consumer side or on the macro side, you know, we as a overall industry, AI company, as together with our retailers and our partners that we work with, we need to put together a collaborative process that uplifts everybody's standards so that we can make this industry a safe but also a very profitable industry for everyone.
Thank you. So how about you, Steve? How's the Insider dealing with the compliance with the data?
So first is for Insider, we never collect like PII, we call PII, which is personal identifier informations. So especially for AdTech and MarTech like Insider, as I said, we collect the behavior of the 80% anonymous users that we base on their hash email, use their user ID by hash. So and also for the partners that when e-commerce player choose the partner, we should looking for the team that have very good at high quality of data protection team. Like for example, like Insider, we have after the securing the funding, we acquire a very strong team in Ukraine that they build the predictive team that also we protect all the data of the partners.
Okay. So we are talking a lot about the dark side, also what we need to concern about when we doing the AI data compliance, privacy, or things. So on the price side, can you name that 2 good points that we are implementing the AI for the e-commerce? That to be concluded, the 2 good points that implementing the AI or machine learning to the e-commerce business.
I think the main thing about that is, you know, customer experience. And if you have an ability to actually go back in time about 5-7 years ago, where e-commerce was just started around Southeast Asia in Vietnam, the experience, you know, on the website, it was so bad that you probably wouldn't even buy anything on those websites anymore. And now, like every single e-commerce website, they have recommendation system, they have targeted ads, you know, on Facebook, it go through you everywhere, and you know, those kind of things is, I mean, sometimes it's not really that good experience for you, but it extremely targeted, extremely personalized, and it's just, you know, as you said, it's leveling up the whole thing together. And I think, to me, I feel like it's a great thing. Like, it encouraged competition, encouraged people to have to just, you have to just have to do better. It's not about, you know, like doing AI anymore, but it's more like you have to do a better AI than your competitors.
So better customer experience and personalize the customer journeys. So how about you, Steve?
So for me, I think 2 good things about AI and machine learning is first, they are more accuracy than the human resource. I don't mean that the BI and the BA team will be useless, but can you imagine that the machine, they, by the algorithms, they are trained 24 hours per day. But we are human, we just work like 8 or 10 hours per day, right? So compared to the process, so machine will be, in the future, will be the one who learn faster and learn with the more accuracy data. And the second benefits of AI and machine learning is it's very automated. Like currently, if you want to reach the customer that you think is gonna be likelihood to purchase for the next few weeks, for example, so you need to ask the BA team running the jQuery SQL to generate the audience, and then you put it in the Facebook and Google to run the ads. But sometimes it takes like few hours, so you need a tool that very automated, very continuously updates, and more automated. Yeah.
How about you, Oliver?
Yes, I definitely agree with my two co-panelists here. Customer experience, personalization, which is actually a very big thing that's coming out in the e-commerce world today. Every marketer, every retailer wants to treat you special. And the only way that they can treat you special is they personalize for you. But how do they personalize for you if they don't know you? If they don't have the data? They don't know what you like, what your past history behavior is. So this is the challenge part about building models, insights to be able to recommend and personalize better. For VSense, we fundamentally work with brands and retailers. So we work with Uniqlo, we work with ASOS, H&M, Zalora, Lazada, Jet in the US, and so on and so forth. So these are the big retailers we work with. Fundamentally, we help them do a couple of things. In the overarching sense of the word, customer experience, we help them with better search efficiency. So in terms of the speed of search, a lot of times when you go to, especially millennial shoppers, I see a lot of millennials today, okay? If you go to a site, you are looking for some things, I can't find it, all right? The next minute, you're going to jump out and you go to another site. That's how fast we are today, all right? Not like me, the old school, where I start to go and look for a lot of things. I got a lot of time to spend. No. I mean, millennials want things very quickly because they're inspired by what they see. The Kim Kardashian dress, on Instagram. They want to find something that's immediate. Do you have that? If you don't have it, don't waste my time. I want to move on to the next site. So you see that search efficiency becomes very, very important as part of the equation. So there's only 3 roads to Rome for this. It's either keyword search, or it's voice search, or it's vision search. So we specialize on the visual part, especially for things like fashion and fashion related. The other one that we work with is to uplift the engagement rate. This comes in the overall space of customer experience as well as personalization. How better can we help retailers and brands engage their audiences using wonderful tools. Like today we work with Matahari Mall in Indonesia, one of the largest marketplaces over there, where we help them decompose some of these complex images from Instagram and use these inspiring Instagram images as inspiration to help shoppers buy things from that Instagram image. It's kind of like wear the look, shop the look the look. Everybody wants to follow their favorite celebrities. So are you going to waste a lot of time trying to find out individual items in that image itself, the blouse, the skirt or the scarf? So we use AI to be able to then recognize, do classifiers and extract vectors, and then find relevant items to present to them. So in a way, it's an engaging experience. Okay, it generates more product views for the retailers, and they're happy with it.
Okay, so from the beginning, we're talking a lot about how AI can help the business, but in terms of enhancing the user experience, more in the user side. But how's for business side, business operations, like warehouse management, logistics, or financial operations? How about you, Dak? Can you have any ideas on the business operations?
So, machine learning by default is, automate some things with machine, right? With that, you can apply to everything. And operation-wise, a lot of the things you can actually automate with machine learning. For example, when a couple of years ago, I worked for a company where we have a couple of trucks or drive around, and it just depends on the driver to actually decide the route, location, where to pick up, where to drop off, and it's so painful because we cannot really decide that. We just run, how we like it. It's not efficient at all. And I think that machine learning, one of the projects we did over there was basically automate the whole decision process for drivers to decide, not to decide where to go, but more like how to drive. We already know the location where he or she should pick up and drop off things. So that's one of the example. And also on the automation point, I really want to point out this one thing that really excites me, is that nowadays companies, they try to automate things with machine learning, but at the same time there are companies that see the value in machine learning. They want to automate the whole thing with AutoML. So, Google are doing that, Facebook are doing that, Uber was doing that. A lot of companies around here are trying to do that as well. And at Boots ML, we also have our own AutoML machine, AutoML system to actually help you to just automate the whole machine learning engineering part of it. And just, here's an API, we're going to predict anything for you, just give us the data.
So how about you, Steve? How about insiders to have the business?
So I think first is the applications of the AI and machine learning is undebatable. So it can apply in many fields. For example, like IoT, voice, computer visions, text, chatbot or stuff. And also basically for insider, we focus mostly for e-commerce and any digital business that have the data. So basically machine learning is inputs, the data, plus algorithms, training, and we get the outputs. So for us, I believe that in the next few years, so e-commerce will leverage a lot in AI and machine learning, and also cross-platform, which is when you own the data and you don't use it, which is like you don't have any actions. But when you own the data, you have cross-platform, we call unified platform. You can use in communication channel like web push. You can use in ad channel, Facebook or Google Ads, or you can use to personalize customer experience in website. So it could be really make use of the machine learning.
So it means that we can use machine learning to cross-targeting our audience. So how about you, Oliver?
Yeah, I mean, AI can be applied right across the entire e-commerce value chain, if you will, all the way from automation in the production process, automation in the warehousing process, automation in the delivery process, all the way to automation in the customer engagement process, because of the volume of data that exists today, as well as the fast-changing nature of how consumers are behaving. If you look at, in every country that I go to, probably I'm just deviating a little bit. In every country that I go to, I've always want to observe the consumer behavior in each market. And over time, I learned to realize that, because of the age of technology that exists today, millennials in most markets tend to be almost the same. All right, and that's because of the excess of technology. Facebook is everywhere, Instagram is everywhere. Once you get access to the same information, you tend to the behavior is converging. So to the bigger question, I mean, where do I see the biggest impact of AI technology? It's right across the entire ecosystem itself. I see the future factory of production being your T-shirts, your shirts being 100% being made by machines. I see that happening, and I see that happening sooner than later. I see the delivery process, where a final product is being delivered to you, whether through drones or to an automated machine, that's going to come, all right, where machines today was able to pick up the parcel that you bought from a warehouse, fully automated, and be able to drop it off at your front door or your front porch, even on the same day itself. That is already happening in the US. I'll give you one very good example of how because I spent a lot of time in the US, work with guys like Walmart and so on and so forth. Late last year, Walmart introduced in 40 of their huge warehouses. For those of you who've been to the US or worked in the US, you know how big their warehouse is. Okay, it's huge. It's almost as big as a football field, all right? It takes a lot of time for people to go around and pick things up. They have implemented robots to be able to pick parcels up and pick products up very automatedly without any human effort. On the shelves, Walmarts have implemented robots that go up and down the shelves to be able to scan the shelves to see which stocks are selling selling faster, so it needs replenishment. So instead of sending people out to the shelf itself, the robots can scan the shelves and use computer vision technology to see the depth of the empty shelves and understand which product is being sold out faster and quickly make that order in real time to the warehousing to do that replenishment. So you think about the consumer experience. I mean, when you walk into a Walmart store, you don't want to see things that are empty from the shelf. You want to see it fully stocked. All right? See how AI on the back end has actually impacted and created that wonderful experience for you, knowing how AI is being able to create that overall impact. So although we, as a company itself, we focus on computer vision, but as an AI company, I'm very heartened to see these AI creating massive impact in either the automation process, the efficiency, and in terms of cost as well, to be able to benefit that. And my hope is that the retailers would then pass some of the cost back to us as consumers.
Okay, thank you. To be concluded that even we have some concerns on data privacy, we have concerns on the mindset and knowledge of the business, but we still in the good way that AI or machine learning is already transformed the e-commerce in a very good way. Because we are running out of times now, and I only have one last question that giving that for one of you. So when I pop up with the terms, you just immediately or instantly replying to the audience that the first word pop up in your mind. Okay, so it will be in order of Oliver and then Steve and then Dak. Okay, I have the last thing, machine learning. Oliver, the first word that pop up in your mind, machine learning.
Efficiency.
Steve.
Automations.
Dak.
Engineering.
Yep. So machine learning, efficiencies, automations, and engineering. So can you give a big hand to all of the speakers here? Yep. We analysts.